Hello, everyone. I thought this would be a good opportunity for me to talk about action figures associated with one of my favorite characters in popular culture. I was the perfect age when George Lucas came out with Star Wars back in 1977, and we were introduced to Obi Wan Kenobi, a mysterious old hermit who would talk about the Force and the magical abilities that we could only glimpse of seeing Luke Skywalker train with the remote and anticipating where the laser blast would be. We didn't really get to see a whole lot of what the Force could actually do until the next episode. We pretty much just saw Luke use the targeting computer with the Force, and Obi-Wan talk to him through the Force, which was still pretty cool. But like when you're 10 years old and your imagination starts going wild with the ideas of the Force, oh, what a great time to be alive. This was the Hasbro edition. This was Hasbro's version of Ben Kenobi, as we saw him in A New Hope, and also Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, although he was sort of blue and glowy at the time. Then, of course, we had this Hasbro version come out with Episode 1. Look, very, very toy-like and kind of clunky. So then, Sideshow subcontracted the 6-scale license from Hasbro, and they produced this. Yeah, you can see the superiority of the sculpture and the articulation. Like the hands actually look like hands and not just giant clunky claws that are more suited to make sure a kid doesn't swallow them than to actual posability and collectability. So this was the representation of Obi-Wan as he was back then. Here's this old guy, hobbling around with his lightsaber, fearlessly going into the Death Star, completely surrounded by enemy troops and skulking about on his own, turning off the tractor beam that held the Millennium Falcon in place, knowing full well that he was going to have to face his old student, Darth Vader. He sort of knew it going in and never once shied away from that responsibility or the ultimate end to that meeting. Now, Sideshow, their next release was the Episode 2 version of Obi-Wan. Pretty good sculpt. It's not like a perfect Ewan McGregor, but it kind of gets the idea done for a representation of the character in Episode 2. And far and away, a great improvement over the Hasbro version. So now, one of the problems with the Sideshow body is that it's kind of clunky and kind of doesn't have a natural flow to it. That's why they eventually abandoned it. But at the time, this was sort of state of the art. So he doesn't really have the soft goods, and the costuming is great. There's like a little leather belt and plastic pouches and things that are attached to it. The lightsaber comes with one that is fully extended and one that's just a handle. And here we have the representation of the Obi-Wan who, without a moment's hesitation, leapt out of a 1,000-story building and grabbed a hold of a flying droid to prevent its escape. He's also the representation of Obi-Wan who took off on his own to discover what was going on with the the clone army and fought Jango Fett and until he managed to escape. Then traced Jango Fett back to Geonosis, where he infiltrated until he was captured. Again, fearlessly jumping into an entire planet full of adversaries. They also did this Clone Wars version, which was taken from the superior Genndy Tartakovsky series of Clone Wars, where Obi-Wan was dressed in the full clone armor, which I thought was pretty cool. They have not yet, Sideshow made a version of Episode 1 Obi-Wan. I didn't particularly care for it, although it was an early attempt on using the technology to put on the lightsaber. But still, here's another version of Obi-Wan who fearlessly, all through the war, never shied away from any kind of conflict. You see a theme here that I'm getting to? Sideshow also put out a version of, they created a statue. It was called their Mythos line. It's sort of like an imagining of things that were going on. And they made a sculpture of halfway between Ewan McGregor's face and Alec Guinness's face as an old Obi-Wan. Now, I didn't buy the figure itself because I was kind of on the fence. I really was thinking to myself, do I have enough space for another Obi-Wan figure? Then I saw the head come up on eBay, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to just try and make my own, which I did. So I kind of copied their idea, and because they eventually released it in a 6-scale figure, which comes with some great accessories. It's really a cool figure, and if you're an Obi-Wan fan, I highly recommend it. Now, one of the things I want to point out with all these representations of Obi-Wan, and I'm really trying to limit the amount of money that I give to Disney and make it practically nothing. But some of these things will probably be my only opportunity to get representations of the figures I really like. So I will probably end up buying a version of Episode 1, Obi-Wan, Episode 2, and Episode 3. Now, I do have an Episode 3 Obi-Wan. Now, this is a copy of the Hot Toys head sculpt. As I was thinking about this, I was like, do I really want to go and spend, since I had already bought all these Jedi figures, do I really want to go and spend another $200, $250 per figure to populate these? Or I could do a body swap and a head swap and use the existing Sideshow clothes that I had, which are really good quality, which is what I did here. So it's a much cheaper alternative for you. And here we have the version of Obi Wan Kenobi who tracks down General Grievous and kills him by himself, surrounded by battle droids and separatist forces, without a second's hesitation, without any inkling of fear. He's also the one who tracked down his wayward apprentice and chopped off his arms and legs and left him to burn to death on the lava planet Mustafar. In all these examples of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the one thing we don't see is any kind of fear or wavering in his commitment to his responsibilities. Until they made this Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Did we not watch the same character since 1977? Didn't we watch a whole prequel series that was based entirely, pretty much revolved around Obi-Wan? He was the epitome of what a hero is. Sacrifice and fearlessness and courage at every step of the way. And now we have him running away, and he can't figure things out. And I have 2 children that are well past 10 years old now. But guess what? I'm not a Jedi, and I never had a problem catching either one of them who were running around at 10 years old. If you love these characters, I would highly recommend that you do what you can to pick yourself up your representations, set them up on the shelf the way they were meant to be, and live in those classic stories and avoid the garbage that they're putting out now. Thanks for watching.